Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to navigate, the really intricate landscape of our emotions and feelings, focusing on how they, surface in our daily lives, our relationships.
Right.
We'll be looking closely at the language we actually use. Everything from just feeling a bit down to, those heated moments.
And we're drawing from a really great conversation, actually. It was between Jake and Emma on Talk Easy English. They got into the subtleties of emotional words and how stories help us figure things out for ourselves and others.
Exactly. So our goal here is to pull out some really practical insights, some useful vocabulary from what they talked about.
Yeah.
We want to give you a clearer way maybe to understand and talk about your own emotions and, recognize what others might be going through.
Looking at those common experiences and the words we use for them.
Precisely. Okay, so maybe let's start with a vocabulary warm-up.
Yeah.
Lay some groundwork.
Good idea. It's foundational, isn't it? Take the word down, super common, but it really captures that feeling of being just a little bit sad, not despair, but, a dip.
Right, just feeling a bit off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then on edge. I know that one.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of jumpy, nervous feeling.
Yeah.
Where small things make you startle easily.
Exactly, that heightened anxiety, almost physical, like being wound up tight.
Totally.
And then there's lose your temper. We've probably all done that or seen it.
Oh, for sure. That sudden, sometimes really intense burst of anger.
Yeah.
Like you spill your coffee and the reaction is just way, way bigger than the problem. That flash of irritation.
Exactly. Or how about brush someone off?
Oof, yeah. Being dismissed, ignored.
It feels pretty invalidating, doesn't it?
It really does. But on the flip side, we try to help people feel better, to cheer someone up.
Yeah, that deliberate effort, trying to lift their spirits.
Definitely. Like the classic bringing cookies to someone who's feeling a bit blue.
A small thing, but it can mean a lot.
It really can. Okay, so we have a few terms now. Let's maybe look at a scenario where these things really play out in a relationship.
Right. This is where Jake and Emma's discussion got really interesting. They used this scenario, Carrie and the boyfriend blues.
Okay.
And I think it's something a lot of us can probably relate to on some level.
Sounds like it. So it's about Carrie noticing her boyfriend's changed. He's distant, grumpy.
Exactly. Let's sort of imagine how a quick chat might go.
Okay, so Carrie might say something like, as Carrie, I just don't get it. He used to be so sweet. Now he just shuts me out. He's always in such a foul mood.
And maybe he replies, as BF, look, I'm just tired. Okay, work is stressful. Can we just leave it?
Wow. Yeah. You can almost feel that wall going up right there.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in that kind of dynamic, either side of it?
Oh, definitely. It rings a bell. And what's fascinating is how underlying feelings, maybe sadness, maybe anxiety, can come out looking like anger or withdrawal.
Right. It's not always straightforward.
Not at all. And that little scene, it gives us some good vocabulary, like shut someone out. What does that really mean in practice?
Good question. It's like creating emotional distance, isn't it?
Yeah. Maybe fear of vulnerability? Or they just don't know how to process their own stuff.
Could be.
Oh.
Or even thinking they're protecting the other person somehow.
Right. Building that barrier.
And foul mood. That's more than just being a bit grumpy for a minute. Right?
Oh, yeah. It implies something more persistent, like a generally bad temper, a sour outlook that affects everything. And the boyfriend mentioned being stressed out. So common, that feeling of being completely overwhelmed by pressure.
Yeah, that huge umbrella term covers so much. And sometimes that stress, it leads to someone snapping at you.
Exactly, that sudden, sharp, often unkind way of speaking. That quick, irritable reaction, it can really hurt, leave you confused. You can see how his stress might make him snap at Carrie, even if he's not really angry at her.
Totally makes sense. Okay, so that's a fictional example. Now, let's bring in a real story. We had a listener, Nina from Berlin.
Ah, yes, Nina. Her story was really telling about misunderstanding.
Right, how easily they can create distance.
Yeah, she talked about feeling overwhelmed, maybe being a bit short with her roommate. And the roommate took it as anger directed at her, which wasn't Nina's intention at all.
And the result was?
A couple of days of just silence. Awkward silence.
Oof. That can feel so heavy, can it? Especially when you live together. It just shows how common miscommunication is, even in close relationships.
It really does. And Nina's story gives us more useful words like misunderstanding itself, just failing to get each other right.
Yeah. Simple, but causes so much trouble. And the consequence in her case, giving someone the silent treatment.
That deliberate non-communication after a fight.
It's like withdrawing, but it often just makes things worse, doesn't it?
Almost always. It's passive, rarely solves anything. But thankfully, Nina mentioned they did eventually make up after the fight.
Okay, good. So making up, that's a reconciling, right?
Right.
Repairing things.
Exactly. Usually involves talking, maybe apologizing, finding a way past it, which is much better than silence.
Definitely.
Which brings us to some really key vocabulary for actually resolving conflict, like talk it out.
The direct route, open, honest conversation. Saying what you feel, listening to them, not just assuming.
Yeah, much healthier than the opposite, bottling things up.
Ah, yes. Suppressing emotions. What happens when you do that?
Well, they don't just disappear, do they? They tend to fester, build resentment, maybe lead to bigger blow-ups later.
Right. It always comes out somehow.
Precisely. Now, to make this even more real, Jake and Emma from the Source Conversation, they actually shared some personal stories too.
Oh, interesting. What did they share?
Well, Jake admitted he once ghosted someone for 2 whole weeks.
Wow. Okay, so ghosting. For anyone who hasn't heard that, what's the definition?
It's pretty much what it sounds like. Suddenly cutting off all communication, no explanation, just vanish.
Poof. Gone. Why did he say he did it?
He felt he didn't know how to say he needed space. He just didn't have the words or the courage, maybe.
I can see how that might happen.
Yeah.
Avoiding the awkward chat seems easier short term, but it's often more hurtful.
Exactly. And Emma talked about snapping at a friend.
Ah, linking back.
Yeah, just because she was exhausted and feeling on edge. Uses that same vocabulary we talked about earlier.
Right. It shows, even people who focus on communication struggle with this stuff.
Totally. It's a learning process for all of us. Managing and expressing emotions well.
They talk about alternatives, right? Like instead of ghosting, Jake could have just said,
something like, hey, I'm feeling really overwhelmed. I need a bit of space.
correct, clear. And Emma instead snapping.
Maybe. Look, I'm super tired and on edge today, so I might be a bit touchy. Just giving a heads up.
Yeah, those simple, direct phrases, they can change everything, can't they?
Huge difference. It really shows how powerful language is, understanding and expressing what's going on inside.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've looked a lot at the trickier side, negative emotions, expressing them, avoiding them. But let's shift gears a bit.
Right. The positive side.
Yeah.
And recovering from the tough stuff.
Yeah. What kind of vocabulary comes up then?
Well, when things improve, you might feel uplifted, like your spirits are literally rising.
Nice. Or relieved. That great feeling when a worry just dissolves.
Or grateful, really appreciating the good things.
Yes. And maybe feeling at peace, that inner calm.
Such a valuable state.
I also really like the word hopeful. It feels so positive and forward-looking, believing things can get better.
It has a real energy to it, doesn't it? And then there are the action words, the verbs for moving past difficult times, like move on.
Right, move on. Making that choice to leave the past behind, focus ahead. And related, maybe let it go.
Yeah, letting it go, releasing those negative feelings, those attachments that aren't helping anymore.
And big one, often, forgive.
Yes. Forgiving others, forgiving ourselves sometimes too. It's so key for emotional recovery.
Definitely. So as we kind of start to wrap this deep dive up, what are the main takeaways for you?
Stepping back, I think it really boils down to the importance of naming things. Naming our emotions.
Right.
Having the vocabulary actually helps us understand ourselves better and then communicate that understanding more clearly.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And we hope that, by exploring Jake and Emma's chat and breaking down these words, you feel a bit more equipped to navigate your own emotional world and maybe be a bit more tuned in to others too.
And it highlights something important, doesn't it? The shared human experience.
How so?
Well, the specific words might differ, language to language, culture to culture, but the basic feelings, joy, sadness, anger, fear, they're pretty universal.
That's true.
So language becomes this bridge connecting us through these shared feelings.
That's a great way to put it. It's a reminder you're not alone in feeling these things. And the right words can really help you connect.
Exactly. So maybe a final thought for you to consider today. Think about the power of just naming an emotion. When you find the right word for what you're feeling, how does that actually change your experience of it, your understanding? Interesting question.
And then how might consciously using some of this vocabulary we talked about today actually improve your communication, maybe even strengthen your relationships? Something to mull over.